All right, groovy. Back to the Ash vs. Evil Dead podcast. Groovy, get it? Because that's what he says.
I oh
Oh, thought I'd explain it for you.
thanks.
So tonight we watched episode 4, Brujo, and a
hmm
lot of stuff happened tonight. I feel like it was kind of jam packed with a lot of things to talk about. What are
Yeah,
your thoughts here?
it kind of slowed things down from all the other ones. There wasn't as much big action in this one, which was okay.
Yeah, it slowed things down a lot, but it was focusing on some other stuff.
Yeah, it had a lot going on. Just saying there wasn't as much action compared to the other ones.
We had the meetup of Lucy Lawless's character and Amanda, which
Yeah.
we knew from the trailer anyway what was going to happen because that's what they used in the trailer. Like, who are you? I'm your new best friend.
Yeah.
They did reveal who Lucy Lawless is now
hmm
because they said that
And
her
that she
family
wants to kick some ash.
she wants to kick some ash. She said that her family was killed in the cabin, so we now know that it is Annie's sister. And I don't
hmm
think they've said like her actual name on screen, but I don't think that's a spoiler now anyway. So it's Ruby. But
hmm
I'm thinking there must be more to it than just her being Annie's sister because the Deadite said, "We know who you are," and then she cut off its head before it said. So either the Ruby thing is a misdirect, like maybe she isn't actually Annie's sister, or there's more to it than what they're saying.
mm
So maybe some of the spoilers about it like is because that isn't the final twist.
Yeah.
Because I know in a lot of interviews they talk about it a lot, that the fact that she's Annie's sister.
There could be more to it because of why they had the book at all and stuff.
Yeah, like maybe there's more to it than just he discovered the father discovered the book.
Yeah, maybe they'd actually start doing something with it.
Hmm. They okay, so they had that reveal that she was keeping Ash's hand this whole time,
Yeah.
and I was thinking like I had this idea in my head. I was like, what if they brought back his hand from the movies? Because that's like one of the most iconic things from the movie is when his hand's running around and it flips him off. And I'm like, what if they brought it back? And I'm like, would that be too silly? No, it wouldn't be too silly. It's exactly what the show would do. And then this episode, they did that. They brought the hand back. But it raises a lot of questions.
I like that she's just been keeping that because she said it
Yeah.
hasn't moved until
Yeah,
recently. So
like, so
she's
why
just
did she
like,
keep it?
yeah. Like I could see if maybe it was a moving hand, she kept it because that's something. But it's just like, ooh, look, this cut off hand. I'm gonna keep this for years. And she
Yeah.
had to have kept it somewhere where she could see it because she saw that it started moving.
Yeah,
It's
did
like,
she
I
just
better
have that,
take
like,
this with me.
she just have that on her dresser, you know? Look at it every
Yeah,
once in a while.
yeah.
Listen, that hand killed her sister. It's got to answer for its crimes. They got to
Mm.
take it to jail, book it, put it
But
on
did that
trial,
hand really do it?
have a hand trial episode. We have clips. What
She could
happened
have
up until
gotten
this
revenge
moment.
on the hand by now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why she kept the hand. I like to like they were talking about in behind the scenes originally they had this idea of like keeping the hand in this jar. Which why would she think to do that anyway? I'm gonna put this hand in a jar and preserve it.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, but why did she just have this hand loose or like wrapped up in a cloth or whatever this whole time? Like neither
Mm.
of them seems like it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
I love they did that though. It's amazing.
Yeah. She just went there, found that hand, like, yup, gotta keep this.
I liked her intro in this episode when she shows up and she does this kind of Kermit-esque hello. That's what it reminded me of anyway. It's a good delivery there. So that was about it for them. Um,
Yeah.
and we followed
Oh yeah,
them.
and then she killed Ash.
She killed Ash, yeah, and the rest of the series is
By
just
the
about
way,
her. By the way, it's not important.
rest is Pablo and Kelly.
Yeah. So they're on the road to go to Pablo's uncle's house, the Brujo, who was sort of a shaman witch doctor of sorts, which goes into more of Pablo's backstory about how, he was raised by him, and he sort of laughed at his practices, and now he's coming around to it, obviously, and so there's that strain with him and his family. And they showed us, I guess, what that POV cam looks like.
Yeah, it's like a giant dust cloud.
Like a giant dust cloud follows them around? Is that what it looked like the whole time? All right.
Yeah, that's what I thought the moment they were looking at that. Like, wait, was that really what that looked like?
I feel like they should have left some mystery there. I don't think we actually needed to see what that looks like, but I like that that's sort of like commonplace for Ash now anyway. Like, I know that's sort of the whole thing in the series anyway, but, even though it hadn't happened for 30 years, but then he sees that floating around, he's like, oh, we got one of these tailing us.
Yeah.
Got this nitrous oxide and prepared for this.
Yeah. They had nitro in that car.
Yeah, and he hadn't even tried it yet, just in case it was in there.
Yeah.
Very paranoid, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So they went to the Brujo's place so Ash could have a acid trip and kind of go into his head searching for answers about how they're supposed to send the evil back this time.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I liked that. And I know that seems like something that you would dig too. I know you like sort of the mindfuck kind of things they do sometimes.
Yeah, it was interesting.
One of the details that I liked that you can't see that well is when he goes back, it starts off, first of all, that fucking cartoon retro acid trip flashback thing, like, that was nuts. And then they go into clips from Evil Dead 2 of him chopping up Linda. And then he's buried in the ground, and he gets out, and then you see all the people with, like, the, I don't know, sacks on their heads or whatever, these weird Deadite visions. And you could tell the ones that were dressed like Ash, because they were all wearing the blue shirt, but the other ones were dressed like Linda.
Yeah.
And it was... Yeah, and you could tell, but they didn't focus on it very much, so if you weren't paying attention, you might not notice the Linda ones, but they were dressed like she was in the second one. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of neat. And he decides that his paradise is Jacksonville, Florida. Because
that's where he was gonna go before the cabin thing happened.
Yeah. That's nice.
That sort of makes sense. You think he could have went there since he's just been apparently drifting.
Yeah.
Sure, he could have found a value mart there or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Value stop. An S-Mart. Maybe next season there will be an S-Mart. We'll see. If they get the rights.
I find that funny too, that like they couldn't get the rights to it, but like S-Mart, I know at least one of them has like the Army of Darkness tour, because they kind of play up to that, the fact that they were featured in Army of Darkness, but maybe they just didn't want to pay to use it. I liked that detail. It was nice that he wanted to go to Jacksonville, Florida, because it is funny, just because you're like, out of all the places, you're like, really? Jacksonville, Florida? But then also they turn it around and it's like, well, because that was where he was going to go.
Yeah.
Before all that happened. That's sort of like his ideal. He thinks this is this ideal place that he never got. And maybe that's why he never went there in 30 years. Maybe I'm just reading into it too much. But maybe he didn't want to kind of kill that ideal of what he thought it would be.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Like, because then you might have to face the reality that, there really is nothing better, or what he thought he could have wasn't really there in the first place. I like the stuff with Eli, too. His bearded dragon.
Yeah, it's funny.
I didn't think that they needed to bring up the doll again. I think that should be left behind.
But I did like him squeezing it and its eyeball shooting out. That was fun.
Yeah, it wasn't crawling all over his face, so like the horrible CGI was not prominent with it. I think that's just because it reminded me of that whole scene. It's like,
What's the demon's name again?
Malagos, I think, is... I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Um, I don't know. The Mindscape Demon, that was back.
Was there anything in the last episode to show that it had gotten inside Kelly?
There was. The smoke, when she was knocked out, the smoke went around her.
Oh, okay.
So I figure it's not too much of a surprise if you notice that, but if you didn't, I guess you're like, oh, what's going on with her? And she's possessed by it, which, I was talking about it last time. Like that opens up possibilities for new kinds of things, and those demons and not just deadites could possess people and do different things.
And Pablo's making Ash a mechanical hand again, so that he can put a glove on and not have to hide his hand.
Yeah, pretty much. I was thinking, like, what if they just keep doing, like, different hand attachments throughout the season? Just different kinds of things for him to put on his hand, because he keeps losing them. Was it supposed to be, like, a power glove equivalent that he was holding there?
That's what I assumed they're going for, because he had the thing with games.
Yeah, and then he was just like, we're not going to play games, we're going to build a new hand for him. So he built the hand out of, like, video game parts? Is that what they're trying to say that he did?
I guess mostly he was using a power glove, a knockoff power glove for it.
Are they trying to say because Pablo was, like, in electronics at Value Mart that he's some sort of, like, electronics genius that could build these things? Is that going to be his thing?
I guess.
I suppose if Ash could do it with just a bunch of college textbooks in 14th century, I guess Pablo could do it with some video games and a power glove.
Or maybe he is actually good at them. It's just that's the best job he had at the time.
Yeah. Well, and also, they implied that he was illegal, that he wasn't legally a citizen, so maybe he couldn't get a better job than that because he wasn't a citizen. In America, not New Zealand. That's where they are, America.
Never seen other places be a stand-in for America.
They picked a good place to use for this series because the weather's so erratic in New Zealand. They could have just shitty weather all the time. Like, look, it's spooky, it's gloomy.
Yeah.
And they don't have to film around it. You know, they could be like, oh, it's rainy, it fits.
Mm-hmm.
I know they had a lot of trouble when they were filming, like, Xena and Hercules. Because they'd be like, oh, we have 10 minutes of sunshine, quick, let's film!
It was always perfect. They had no trouble.
No trouble.
When's Autolycus gonna show up on the series?
The
And they can go,
last.
wait, whose baby is it? Ash's or Autolycus?
Oh my god.
Garbles just had a baby.
Oh my gosh. That comic sounds horrible. They had, alright, people listening, there was a Xena Army of Darkness crossover comic. There were two. And the first one was fine, just sort of like, they know it was stupid, they just did it just to have fun. And then the second one, they're like, let's go even crazier. And they had, like, Gabrielle and Ash have a kid, but it might be Autolycus's, so they don't know. And then the kid's raised in the future, or the apocalyptic future. And
It's a Super Saiyan.
As a Super Saiyan? Yeah, I've only seen pictures. It seems awful. Just truly atrocious. But you know what would be great, though? If they implied that they might do time travel in the second season of Ash vs. Evil Dead. Like, what if it was like they did a Xena crossover for no reason? They're just like, look, we got Lucy Lawless.
Yeah.
We'll just bring Ted Raimi in. They're cool. You know, and they get Renee O'Connor. Just do Xena.
Amy's busy reprising his Baywatch character.
In the new movie. Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen Ted Raimi yet. I would be very surprised if we never saw Ted Raimi during this show, because that would be a very missed opportunity.
Maybe he'll show up as Henrietta.
As Henrietta, yeah. Put him through that hellish makeup again.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Remember how much you liked this?
No, he'll be his character from the end of Army of Darkness, just the stock boy that was really annoyed with him. Like, oh yeah, you went back in time, huh?
That never happened, though, because he never worked at S-Smart.
Never worked at S-Smart. Maybe they just haven't referenced it because it's another one of those Army of Darkness things where they're kind of
That's what I
wink.
assume mostly.
But S-Mart wasn't invented for Army of Darkness. I mean, it's an actual store, so they could still.
I don't know what the stupid thing is with that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, technically they could still say he time traveled. I don't know why they couldn't say that. But they can't, apparently, until they get this nonsense cleared.
I think they can. I think it just hasn't come up yet. Like, oh, by the
Well,
way,
they're
I time
leaving it
traveled.
vague now because
Yeah.
of the weird hiccup with this.
Yeah, I think it's probably fine if they want to use it and just not specifically reference the movie, but reference the time travel. I'm sure they could.
They could have had him have a throwaway line about having time traveled, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe it'll come up when it comes down to that.
Yeah.
So, was there anything else in the episode we haven't covered yet that you want to talk about?
Well, the demon being like taking over Kelly and then going inside Ash's head while he's
Yeah.
on his acid trip.
Yeah, and then he's back in the cabin, and it's chasing after him, and that was interesting.
Then he almost chokes out Kelly, trying to force choke the demon in his mind. I thought it was weird though, because I thought it was inside him because it went inside his head, but then you see it's still inside her at the end.
Yeah, I think it was just same thing it was doing last time. You know, it could like mess
Yeah.
with the mind, and it was just using her as a vessel since I don't know what happened to its body. She just hit it, and I guess it was gone, and it went in her. I don't know.
Mm.
I thought they had a kind of a good vibe going with Ash and Kelly and Pablo. You know, since they decided they're going to be a team rather than just, you know, they have to kind of deal with each other. They had kind of a good vibe going at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. I like how the characters are working out. I'm wondering how long it'll be that Lucy always has like a chip on her shoulder, wants to kill Ash until that stops, or if it will.
Yeah.
I
The thing,
imagine it will at some point, though.
yeah. The thing that I worry about with her and with Amanda's character in particular is getting into that, like, I hate you no matter what, even though I know completely what happened kind of chip on the shoulder stories. You know, like, at least with Lucy Lawless's character, you could get that, like, her whole family died and she's got that, you know, the chip on her shoulder about it. But, like, Amanda's kind of seen more about, you know, what Ash is doing and fighting demons and things like that. And maybe she could, you know, because she got Ruby's story, it could be like, oh, he unleashed it and it's his fault and stuff like that. But it's a fine line to tread with those kind of stories where it could be really annoying or really interesting. Because sometimes they get into, like, they know what happened, but they're still, like, really bitchy about it anyway, where it's like, just, I don't care,
Yeah.
get over it. They haven't done that yet, obviously, but I hope it doesn't go in that direction.
Hopefully it doesn't go there.
But they probably wouldn't spend a lot of time on it anyway, you know, because it's so fast, so even if it was annoying, I'm sure it wouldn't be very draggy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like we always say, if you guys haven't watched it, now's the time to get into it. It's very easy to get into. You should be definitely watching
Yep.
this show.
Do it. Get into it.
Another solid episode.
Yeah, get into it.
See you guys next time. Bye.
Mm.